Morning, guys. Just getting started here. Um, just a couple minutes before 9:45 because we have news coming out at 10, but we also got some delivery overnight. So I just kind of want to recap that before we actually get into what we're looking at today. So since last night, around 10 o'clock or so, we've been in a bearish trend. Yesterday, we opened up here, came down, took out this swing low, came up and took out these relative equal highs here. And from there, we started to trade lower, which is in line with what we've been seeing over the past 3 weeks, maybe month or so now. So makes sense that things are trading lower. Just moving up quickly to the 1 week. And I know this is pretty messy. I'm actually going to switch over to the weekly or the daily chart because this is cleaner. Let's see. I'm gonna get rid of all this stuff because we don't need it. Sheesh, man's just trying to make a point. So let's go with electronic trading hours. We're gonna go over to the 1 week. And looking at this now, you can see that on the weekly, we're down, we're trading down. But when we closed yesterday, we were right around here. So it was actually pretty standstill. And I'm just going to edit this quickly so that we can get a better idea of what price looked like before opening up today. Let's see. Okay. So, oh, that doesn't really do much. Let's see. So before opening up today, this is kind of what this candle looked like. Just staying in that one area, which obviously is different than what we're seeing now. Now we are seeing that it's a bit lower. So I'm just going to edit this quickly so that I don't get caught up later on if I try to set up an order block or a fair value gap. So just recapping, before today, this was pretty much a doji. Now we're trading down. So we have come far down enough to create a TGIF scenario. I'm not necessarily within the belief that we will see a TGIF today. It is OPEX, so options expiration, futures expiration for the 3 month delivery contract. So the March contract ends today, 3/21. So on days like that, we do see a bit of back and forth price action, not very clean. But considering this was a doji until this morning, and a little while ago with this candle here, we took out the weekly low. Let's see. Trying to see the best way to present that. Okay, whatever. We're not going to look at that. But we took out the weekly low a little while ago, which was 19,604. So I would think that we're going to retrace a little bit, come up a little bit higher, and then continue lower because we did take out that weekly low. It will also be very interesting to see where we close today because if we go back through that weekly low and close below here, we'll be closing this fair value gap right here, which means pretty much the go ahead to continue trading lower for even longer than we have. So just gonna make my way back to the chart that we were looking at before. And I know that looks nasty, but gonna move back up to here. So this line right here is the weekly low. You can see we just pierced that before turning around here. Yeah, let me update this actually. We did just get a TGIF, so eating my words already, but let's see, low 602.50. Okay, so new low for the week, but this is 20% TGIF, which we're going through right now. I'm a little surprised by that, but again, it's OPEX, so we may see some back and forth price delivery. Here's the 30% retracement for TGIF. I think if we don't see that today, we will see it Monday, but I am currently under the belief that we continue lower. So I'm going to be staying on the 15-second or the 5 minute here, 5 minute candles. But I'm just gonna move down to the 15-second briefly to show you guys that it's not the cleanest delivery here. Very back and forth. Um, let's look at the one. The one is a little bit cleaner than that, but again, pretty nasty. This morning, however, before open, price was fairly clean on the one here as well as the 15-second. Just zooming in here. So this is fairly clean. But once we started coming toward the open around 8:45 and especially around 9:25, price got pretty gnarly on the 15-second. So I'm going to be trading the 5 today. And that's, I believe, all that we need to address right now. So just going to hang out and wait till we get something that fits our parameters for a good trade. And I did forget to mention that we have the revised consumer sentiment, which is orange folder at 10 o'clock. So I think I'll wait around until 10 o'clock before taking an entry. But if something presents beforehand that's giving me the green light saying, hey, this is 100% where we're going, I'll take an entry. But otherwise, I'm going to wait until 10 to see what we get for delivery after that data. And this is yesterday's low, I believe, that we're on right now. On the 1 minute, we did get this order block here, taking us higher. Take a look at the 15-second. I don't really love, I don't love it. I don't love anything about what was going on before we moved higher on the 15-second here. So the 1 minute is okay. Also don't love that, but it's a lot more trustworthy than looking at this. I don't really see a setup here on the 1 minute that makes me believe it's going to be higher for a long time. So seeing a bit of OPEX price delivery right here. We had what seemingly was an order block here on the 1 minute. So less volatile than the 15 second, a little cleaner than the 15 second. And we moved, let's see, 30 handles. And if you want to count this, about 50 handles from the high of this. And then we traded right back into it with two candles. So that is very indicative of OPEX. And we see a lot of that during non-farms payroll week as well. But OPEX and OPEX Friday especially, we see price do this sort of stuff here. So I'm not seeing too much right now. Just gonna hang around. Look at the 15-second chart here. This is kind of a roller coaster and not one that I would like to ride. Interesting. So on the actual mini contract here, on the 1 minute, we have this uh seemingly order block. But if you come over to the 1 minute on the micro contract, we don't have that order block. This candle here, that is a down close candle, is an up close candle here. So again, OPEX week, we're seeing big differences even between a mini and the micro. This tracks the same index, which is the NASDAQ. But the contract right here, which is 10 times smaller than this one, is presenting two different candles. So definitely a nasty environment right now. We're 2.5 minutes out from the consumer sentiment report now. I'm not trading it, but on the 1 minute, if this candle closes up above this, I'd like to see the next candle just run up and smash through here. So on the 1 minute, we did clean these relative equal highs right here, as well as balancing this price range. If we were in a pretty strong bullish environment, or even an environment where we've just been kind of trading back and forth, um, I would start to look at something for buy side here, seeing that we're doing this. But for multiple reasons, I'm not going to trust that right now. For one, we have data dropping in less than 10 seconds, but we also are trading kind of OPEX delivery right now. So I don't find this incredibly trustworthy. And thirdly, we've been trading bearishly for a little while, but pretty strong bearish. So not trusting that. Right now, a little bit of a weaker reaction on this consumer sentiment report. 15-second candle. This is the moment that it dropped. Not really seeing much, just up and down right here. Possible inside candle here. I'm not trading on the 15-second, but to see bearish delivery, I'd want to see this close below here and then fail to get back inside of the midpoint of this here. But you can see right here, we don't have an intention of doing that. So on the 1 minute, let's see what happens if we close here. We should want to see price run lower considering we closed below here. But it's been pretty slow delivery so far, so we do got to watch to see whether or not we trade back through the midpoint of this. Take a look at the 15 second. 15-second is a bit cleaner. Sticking with the 5 here. So we can see there's not much follow through here so far. If we were seeing cleaner delivery when closed below this order block here, we would have wanted to rush lower. Let's see what we're looking at on the 15 second. On the 15 second, we totally disregarded this, so kind of what I expected there. Now this is interesting. If this closes up just a little bit, I would expect the very next candle to open up on the side and just start to run higher. Again, not taking that, but that's what I would expect generally. So at the moment, it does seem we're being held here. Not the cleanest delivery so far, but I do want to see how we treat the midpoint of this wick. So I'm going to grade it. Let's look at the 15 second. I'm sure it's nasty. Not really something to get behind. Watch to see if we come back through the midpoint of this here. If we do, I think it'll be a pretty strong candle just up to run at stops that are here. Yep, as expected. So just in a bit of a holding pattern. We're going to want to watch what price does in the last 50 seconds of this candle. So the last 50 here, we should get some movement here. just need to move up to the 1 minute quickly. I never added the first presented fair value gap. So I would think we'd want to see a strong draw down here, draw lower. That would give me confidence that we'll see lower for longer. And if that's the case, this is the order block that we're trading off of. I'm sticking to the 5 minute just because this has been not very trustworthy. I 702.25. One tick below the midpoint of this new day opening gap. So I'm going to close that or get rid of that because we did close below the midpoint of this here this week. Very slow. Let's watch to see what price does in here. Want to see whether or not it starts to draw lower or if it wants to touch this and keep leaving from being inside of it. Take a look at the 15-second. Possibly a high resistance liquidity run for sell side, but with the delivery that we're seeing, I'm more inclined to say that we're just being held. And yeah, now it's no longer, I don't think that's a possibility any longer because I do believe this just traded through the midpoint. I don't have it graded, so I'm not certain. So remaining a pretty slow environment, not really going anywhere. And you can see that it's good that we're on the 5 minute time frame because on the 15 second, this is incredibly sloppy. On the 1 minute, still sloppy. On the 5 minute, a little bit better, but still not very clean. So good choice being on the 5 today. Okay, so let's watch the last 50 seconds of this candle. So if this is going to move into more efficient delivery, I'm going to want to see one of two things. I'm going to want to see this current candle just start to jam straight up, or at least come up to this area and have one more take this out. Or I want to see price close below this, right in this area. Outside of that, I think we continue this sideways price action. But seeing either of those things would tell me that we're going to start to see some sort of delivery here. So let's watch coming up on the last minute. Once we get in there, want to watch the last 50 seconds. Want to see if the last 50 seconds can drive us through here, or if the very next candle opens doesn't go more than 25% into this and then continues driving through. Okay, so I'd like to see this one come no more than 25% into here and then drive higher. So we'll go ahead and grade this. Yeah, so we're already more than 50% through there. Don't love the delivery, but we did stay above midpoint. So I'd like to see a close above this 25% here, this quadrant. And to me, that would make me think that we're going to continue higher. Super slow delivery, so we gotta stay on it and continue to analyze his price trades here. So far, we're remaining above this midpoint. So I'd like to see it close above here, this midpoint. And don't really want to see us draw down here if we're going to continue higher. So last 50 seconds will give us she kind of let us know what to be looking for in the next candle or two. I will actually correct what I said about not wanting to see it close below here. Um, if this traded into the top of this here, it could become a propulsion block. With today's delivery, that's gonna that I think that's outside of my realm for taking an entry because I'd have to have my stop below here, and this isn't the most trustworthy delivery so far. So I don't know, it's a tougher one for me, a tougher call, but yeah. Let me just check and see if there's anything going on today. Nothing till 3:45. Let's see what the 15-second looks like. I'm sure it's not the cleanest. Oh, that's not bad actually. This might actually be a run for sell side. Stop would have to be in here, but that's actually the cleanest thing I've seen so far today. I don't love the idea of taking it. Let's see, close 750, 75, open. I already don't like the way that it's just turning around right here. So we're gonna stick with the 5 minute. Yeah, this is interesting. Leaving this 15-second alone. I think we're gonna blow right through the midpoint of this. So if we can see a close above here for this candle, I will take an entry with my stop below this because it would be an order block at that point. Let's see what the low is, 737.75. Yeah, so the low of this is literally the top of this. It's definitely tricky today. So it's kind of weak. I don't think I really want to take an entry on this. It's not like my confidence in this trade if I were to take an entry here is like 25%. But it does look like we are going to see price open up a little bit right here, so that is good. I'd say in the next 15 minutes we'll start to see a true direction for a sustained move. I know we were grinding higher. Um, but I do think we'll start to see a faster move in the next 15 minutes, just based on how price is delivering right here, right now. What's the low? 735. So if we do close up in this area, I'll take an entry with this as the stop, the low of this. But it's tricky right now because if we close above this here, we shouldn't really need to go below here to go higher. But on the flip side, as small as this is, this could be an order block, a bearish order block. So if we close below that, we could take a short with the stop being the midpoint of this. I think the stop would just have to be the high because it's so small. But the tough thing about that is this is such slow delivery. It's really hard to trust either of those right now. So that's why I'm very much deleveraged and looking to only take one contract if we go either direction or if we close in either direction. So looking for the close above this or to just close below this. And ideally, if we close below this and the midpoint here, I take an entry seeking sell side. So we got a nice large wick here on the one. I want to see what that looks like on the 15-second because that might tell us a little bit more. There's that wick. It's not anything too crazy. It's just this here. Yeah, this is wild on the 15-second even. So it kind of looks like things might pan out. If we close a little bit lower right here, so we have this 1 minute candle. If we can close lower here, we already have a close below this, and we haven't gone back through the midpoint of this order block here. And then moving up to the 5, I think we'd have to see a close below this. And that's what we would use for our stop. So let's watch the last 50 seconds here and see what we get out of this. Man. So 30 seconds here. I'm going to take this and if we do get stopped out, it's just going to mean that price is going to remain inefficient, but close below this on the 1, the 5, and the 15-second. So should be good to go. I'm going to take an entry the second we close here, but if we do trade a little bit higher into it, um, I'll take an additional one. Get rid of this here. So this still isn't like the cleanest delivery, but the thing I did like about this is on the one, we closed below here and started to move lower more quickly, but you can already see this is pretty inefficient because we just came right back up and we have this um, volume imbalance right here. But then let's take a look at the 15-second. On the 15-second, we closed below this, um, and we didn't bother it. We didn't agitate it before coming lower. As well as on the 5, we closed below this. So the 5 seems to be the most trustworthy time frame right now, but this is the cleanest price signature and price that I've seen so far that would make me trust one direction over the other. And we just got an order block here on the 1 minute. Still got to be cautious because this price delivery has not been very clean at all today. So we very much could see price turn around and just rip higher. I don't think we'll see that on a typical day, but a day like today, I think that's pretty likely. I want to say that that's something that we can't really rule out. So on the 5 minute, still watching to see if we continue to respect the midpoint of this order block. On the 1 minute, we're looking to see if we can respect the midpoint of this one. Um, we'll see if this one gets respected, but it does look like we're trading back through this one right now. So I think at best this is a high resistance liquidity run for sell side. And at worst, this is just continuing inefficient price delivery that we took an entry in. So on the one, still watching this guy here, the midpoint. On the 5, watching the midpoint of that. Drop down to the 15-second. It would be the midpoint of this on the 15-second. Yeah, so We just got stopped out on that's just inefficient delivery, unfortunately, here. So not entirely sure what to make of this right now. It does seem to remain stuck in this area. Even if we close below here, I don't know if I really trust it short, especially considering where this candle opened up and where in relation to where this one closed. But if we're going to if this is going to become or remain bullish, because it's been mostly bullish since the open, I'd want to see this price range get balanced. So I'd like to see price come up to 773 and then give us some sort of discount PD array. I do think if we balance this, we're probably just gonna run right through here, but it does remain pretty inefficient here. Or maybe not, I'm not going to say inefficient because it's not crazy inefficient. It's just kind of held in an area. So we're coming up on 1050 here. So we should get a macro at 1050, which will take us to where price should end up on the hour at 11. So at 1050, we should get something that starts to deliver price, and that will start to take us to where price needs to be based on the algorithm at 11 o'clock. So in about 2 minutes, we're going to watch and see how price starts to shake around then. And I'm going to drop down to the 15-second chart just before 1050 so we can look at it and see how those candles paint. Hmm. I don't trust it because of the way that we've been delivering, but this could be a propulsion block here. We grade it. Yeah, that might be a propulsion block. I don't know though. This is just such disgusting delivery. I don't necessarily trust it, but it does look like this could send us higher. And we're coming up on that 1050 macro here. All right, so 20 seconds. All right, so we should see price start to open up here. I'd be perplexed if we didn't start to see some movement shake out here. A little more muted than I expected. Gonna jump back up to a 5. This is rough. Rough price action today. But it is OPEX, so that's to be expected. And we're coming up on 11, so I'm going to close out here shortly. Yeah, it's just getting wound tighter and tighter, not going anywhere, which explains why I was stopped out there. is this price though? Is this the low? Yesterday's low. Now, if we weren't in this environment that we're trading in right now, I would expect price to just start to head straight up, but we've been wound all day. Okay, so of course, now we're seemingly moving out of that inefficiency. And we just took out the opening range gap midpoint. Okay, so we're coming up on 11. Gotta close this out, but let's see. Yeah, I find it pretty interesting that we took out the weekly low and we've been trading higher ever since. So, gun to my head, I think we're headed to take this out. 845. We got about half of the movement here on this singular candle, but yeah, I think that's what we're looking at. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. Anyone that watched, hope you learned something. Good luck.